In one of the many new additions to the Javits Center here for New York Comic Con. Not quite sure which floor that we're on, but we did run into LaDestroy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. And enjoying New York Comic Con. Is this your first time at a con?
It's my first time at New York Comic Con.
New York Comic Con.
Yeah, I went to San Diego Comic Con once years ago, but this is my first time at this one, and I'm very excited.
What do you think about the experience?
I mean, it's massive, and I love how much light they get in the convention center, and like the layout is just so good, and the flow's so nice, and like everyone is dressed up, so yeah, it's great.
You'll get sick of it real quick because it's 4 days, and you go, all right, the first day, and then by halfway in the first day, unless you've got a lot to do, you're like, oh, I walked the floor, now what? Oh, I still have to be here for another 4 hours, and then, oh, I have 3 more days of this, so it's great when you have something to promote.
I'll be here definitely today and then tomorrow to make sure if there's any cool like specialty items, and also like the artist row. I really want to go down there because I love seeing some of the artists, and not like necessarily the big brands, right? But like the artists that do their own thing, because those are the people I collaborate with.
The independent
and work
artists,
with.
yeah.
Exactly. So I'm really interested in scoping.
Do you have
them
any
out.
favorites? Like, what's your art style as far as comics go?
Oh man, I mean, it really varies. I can't tell you what I like, but when I see something, I know if I like it or if I don't. I can't.
It's subjective.
You know?
Art is
yeah.
subjective.
Yeah, it really is. There's some things that just doesn't hit for me, you know, especially with like animated series. Like just some art styles just aren't there for me, you know.
Right.
But.
You also said looking for exclusive items, so that must mean you collect some things. What do you collect?
If it's something I like, then I'll put it in my studio. You know, like I love having fun with decorating my studio and putting like I have a Ripley in the mech suit, which is so fun, you know, 'cause I love that movie. I have a bunch of Cyberpunk stuff, obviously, because, you know, Cyberpunk 2077, but I also have unstable unicorns, like the Stabby unicorn. I mean, literally, if it's fun and I like it, then I gravitate towards it.
If it's the Ripley I'm thinking of, she's with the giant yellow machine,
yep.
right? So that's my pal Randy. That's his company, NECA.
Really?
They have the Alien line. They've got the Predator line. They've got all of that stuff.
I also do have a Xenomorph in there too.
All right. Well, they got a bunch of new stuff there. You can go out on the floor and see some of the new stuff they got out. You're here really because you've got this insane collaboration with yourself where you for those who don't know, you know, go to her YouTube, check out her music and her videos, but you put out an album back in May,
right?
Trashumanism.
Yeah.
And then now it's translated into what they call a silent graphic novel.
Right.
So is this like you play the album and read the book along with it?
You could do it like that. That's how it started. So like I did the album, and I always had the idea that I wanted to do a graphic novel, and so the album is kind of like, I mean, it is the soundtrack to the graphic novel. So you can go through them separately, or you can do it together. They are amazing standalone pieces. The whole world itself of Trashumanism is also going to keep expanding. So all of these different elements and arms of this project are going to come to life. Each track on the album is a chapter in the graphic novel. And so they're in the same order, they're the same names, so all the chapters are tied in visually with the album.
There are a lot of people who want to do what you have now achieved. How do you get that? How do you jump from the album to getting somebody on board to make the graphic novel to go along with it?
Well, I had an idea. Like, I'm a very visual person, so anytime I write songs or, you know, even if it's just an instrumental, there's an energy and I see things. And I have a ton of ideas. And so I just really wanted to get those out. You know, it was really awesome doing music for Cyberpunk 2077 and creating things for this world that have just these stunning visuals tied to them and storylines and characters and elements. And so when I was writing my album, I wanted to create something like that for myself because I did see things. What's really nice about doing things instead of, you know, shooting like a real life music video where I'm actually there in physical form, if you're doing things with an artist who can draw things, you can imagine so much more and do it for way less money than trying to do something in real life, right? Because the budget, it gets to be way too much money, like if you're trying to actually create
there's
that
padded
stuff.
for, you know, people's time, technology, editing, that whole stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Well, and
you're with a
props
bigger
and
company.
special effects and like all of that stuff, it starts to add up. So like the music videos that I did that were actually like me in real life, they are tied in with the graphic novel. So one of them, Me Versus You, is actually a precursor. So to the graphic novel, where you see like prototypes being built and then they die and things like that.
I'm sure this thing is going to do very well for you. The album's doing very well. Your online presence, certainly the video game helped get a lot of attention on you. But you're putting all this together. It's doing well. But to get to that point where it's created, it's real, it's tangible, you're holding it, is an achievement of itself, because most people don't even get to that. They have the ideas, and maybe they have they start on that path, but then they either hit a roadblock or they lose interest, it's too hard, or they just don't have the right people around them. And getting to that point where you have the album and then you have the graphic novel, it's insane. I mean, that's fantastic that you got to that point. And now the next point is probably going to have to be Funko Pops or figures or something to go along with the characters.
Tabletop role-playing game.
That is a very popular genre. I don't know a lot of properties that tie into the tabletop game, but that's fantastic because there's nobody doing that.
Yeah, well, I can say that I am working with a Gold NE award-winning game author who won for his work on Warhammer. So
look at
that
you.
is what I
What
have
can't
to say
you do
about
at this
that.
point then? What can't you do at this point? When do you think that game is going to be available?
Okay, well, Trashumanism, the graphic novel, took a little over a year from when I reached out to Lourdes till when I had the physical prints in my hand. So, you know, it depends on how long it takes to build the system into the world and how deep we make the world. So, I mean, I'm hoping not that long, somewhere in line of, you know, what the graphic novel took.
I did want to ask you, I was going through your YouTube channel, I was watching all your videos, and the video and the song concept for Breed, very Nine Inch Nail-ish, it feels. Are they an inspiration at all? Or where do you pull your creativity? Where do you pull your...
So it is a nod. I mean, how could it not be, right? Like, and when I wrote the song, I was like, whoa, this is like My Closer, kind of. You know, like
I was going to say that.
It wasn't intentional to do that. It just kind of came out that way. But obviously a huge fan. And I worked with Danny Lohner, who was in Nine Inch Nails on the record. He co-produced it with me and obviously put his fingerprints on it and played a bunch of instruments, and then got Josh Freese, who's the drummer for the Foo Fighters, to play drums on the record, which is very exciting. So
I read that you have other artists that were really into what you were doing and helping you out, like with Pink and
oh my God, yeah.
Linda Perry.
She came to my first show with my band for my first project.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was a fan, and she would bring me into her fold a little bit and stuff, and unfortunately I never ended up opening up for her on her tour. There was like talk of that happening, but it just didn't fall on my side of the fence, you know?
Well, that doesn't mean she's done. Doesn't mean that there's not another tour you can get on. And look, that's where everyone starts. You know, you do the West Coast tour for an artist. You do the East Coast tour for an artist. Maybe you're doing the European leg of somebody's tour. And then, you know, a year or two later, you get the call from like a Live Nation or something. Now you're doing your own tour and you're bringing somebody else up right behind you.
Yeah, I definitely want to focus on, you know, either opening for national acts or like legacy acts. Like if national acts are coming through town in Texas, like, you know, I've had opportunities to hop on and open up for them and things like that, which is really nice. It's very convenient. Then I don't have to like fork out a ton of money to like book a whole tour and make sure, you know, that I can get people in there, you know. But I would definitely make a solid act for opening up for legacy acts right now. I put on a hell of a show.
We're running out of time, but I just want to plug again, Trashumanism, the album is out, available anywhere you get music. The graphic novel is out now. How do people get that?
You can order it on my website, ledestroy.com.
ledestroy.com for everybody there. I'll end with this, since you mentioned Texas, Austin area, right? A million barbecue places there. What's the favorite?
My husband's.
Oh, what's yours?
No, his barbecue.
Oh, his
my
personal
favorite.
barbecue?
We have a Yoder, and I respect people who are vegetarians and vegans. I do like meat.
Yes, of course. How can you not? Especially in that area.
Yeah.
I know in that area everyone says Franklin's because it shows up on every cooking show, Travel Channel show, all that stuff like there.
It is solid.
Yeah.
Franklin's is really good.
There's a place that, and I only found it because it was near my hotel every time I'm in Austin, but it's on that main road near the bridge where all the bats fly out of.
Congress?
Yeah, on there.
Is
Carving
it
it up.
Cooper's?
Cooper's, that's
Cooper's,
it.
yeah. That was the
Cooper's.
other one I was going to say. On the cafeteria style, that sounds like Cooper's.
You go out and sit out in the back in the trees. They have the
Oh my God,
tables
the
there.
dino ribs.
Yeah.
Oh, have you had the beef ribs? Like, no, get me. Yes,
All right, I
please.
got to make another trip to Austin, get
You
some
do.
barbecue.
You do. And hit me up.
I will.
We'll have some-
Le Destroy, is it that on the social media too? All the social media handles?
This is Lay Destroy. I mean, you know, it's so hard to get handles. And so by the time I had this project, I'm like, this is Lay Destroy, others is Lay Destroy. So you can find me. Just Google me.
And if you don't know, after all of this, if that still hasn't piqued your interest, Cyberpunk 2077,
Yes.
the video game, for a while, the
had 3
soundtrack
songs.
was more popular than the game because that game had a rough start coming out with some of the updates and some of the fixes they were doing. But nobody has ever talked bad about the soundtrack for that game. That's right up. It was compared right up there with the soundtrack for like GTA.
Right.
When you're driving around, just the selection of the music, people love that soundtrack. For the, what was it called? Radio Volumes?
Radio Volumes,
Radio
yeah.
Volumes, yeah. Let us Troy, thank you for talking with us. Enjoy New York Comic Con. Enjoy your time in New York City.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.